Hello, everybody. Jeff Cowan here from The Jeff Cowan. Thank you for watching my podcast, and not only my podcast, my very first podcast. I couldn't be more excited about this if I tried. I've been working on this for such a long time, and it's finally launching, and I am excited. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen with this podcast and why you want to listen. If you're in sales and you want to be the most successful salesperson you can be, you want to maximize the opportunity that you have in front of you every day. If you want to live the lifestyle that you've always dreamed of, I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm going to talk to you about how to do that with this podcast. But here's what's going to be unique about this podcast that will be broadcast every Tuesday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Here's what's unique about it. You can get it two ways. Number one, if you're listening to it right now on Apple, then you're getting it the way normally people get their podcasts, so you can listen to it audio and the whole thing, but you say, man, I wouldn't mind seeing the video version of this. Wouldn't mind using it in one of my sales meetings or sharing it with some other people. Is that possible? Yes, it is, because this is also videotaped. So how do you get a copy of the video? It's real easy. You just go to thejeffcowan.com, thejeffcowan.com. That's THEJEFFCOWAN.com, THEJEFFCOWAN.com, thejeffcowan.com. Go to the contact page, give us your email address, and every Tuesday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time, we will email you a video version of what you're listening to. Now, if you're one of the people that's watching this on video and you say, I would like to listen to it on audio, I'd like to listen to it in my car when I'm doing different things and not necessarily want to watch the video every time. So how do I do that? Simple. You just go to where you get all your podcasts, to Apple, look up Jeff Cowan, and you'll see my podcast there. This can be broadcast again every Tuesday at noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So the other thing you need to know about this is I'm going to be very direct. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know, and I'm going to do it in the shortest amount of time possible. I'm going to do everything I can to keep these podcasts right around 15 minutes or less. A few may go a little bit longer, some shorter, but I'm going to try and keep them right around 15 minutes, and here's why. You know, I, like you, I assume, if you're listening to this, you probably listen to quite a few different podcasts, and you'll notice that when you listen to them, a lot of them go on for 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, and they promise they're going to give you some great tips, and they typically do. But if you're like me, I get down to some of the end of those, and I go, you know what? I just listened to that for an hour, hour and a half, and they did give me some good tips, but those tips they could have told me in the first 10 or 15 minutes, and they seem to talk about, they fill the rest up with a bunch of opinions, and they interview people and all that stuff. And I might have somebody on here I'm going to interview every once in a while, but most of the time it's going to be just me. I'm going to cut to the chase. I'm going to give you techniques, tips, processes, things you need to know, and things you need to do to maximize the opportunity you have in sales and make you the best salesperson you can be. That's what the goal of this is going to be. So let's get started here. First, let's define what it takes to be a successful salesperson. Well, to me, success in sales is maximizing the opportunity with the product that you have. Are you making the most that you can in the business you're working with the product that you're representing? So many times people get down on themselves because they're not making, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in sales, millions of dollars a year in sales, and billions of dollars a year in sales. And if that's your end game, well, then what I'm going to show you how to do and the things we're going to talk about, it's the same techniques that people that make that type of income use and continue to use and have used to get to that point. But I've discovered most people don't want to make that type of income, and you should not be down on yourself if you're not knocking out $500,000 a year, because again, I believe in the United States of America and in Canada, most people don't want to make that type of income every year. Most people don't want to be millionaires, and here's why I say that. Because simply, if they did, they would. How do I justify that? It's because you're living in the United States of America and in Canada, and you can do whatever you want in these two countries. You can have whatever you want if you're willing to pay the price, and that's what the difference is right there. Are you willing to pay the price that it takes to get some of those bigger incomes? If you are, great, I'm going to show you how to get it. But if you, again, if you're working with a product, and the most it will pay is $40,000 a year commission, $60,000, $80,000, $120,000 a year, and that gets you the lifestyle that you want and you're happy, then you're successful. That's the true measure of success. Let me give you some more details here. Let me talk to you a little bit more about what I'm talking about so we're real clear on this. I had a friend by the name of Bill Hebron. And Bill Hebron he's one of these guys, everybody seems to have one of these friends that was an unbelievable world-class musician. You know, I met Bill when I sold furniture. He was a great furniture salesperson. He usually made right around $35,000, $40,000 a year. The last time I saw him, I think with inflation and everything, he'd gotten that up to about $50,000 a year. Great salesperson, but an even better guitar player. I mean, this guy was a better guitar player than a lot of the people I paid to go see. And we all have a friend like that, right? So he's the one that you think think, well, wow, this guy's going to be a major rock star someday, and I know I'm going to pay to see him, and but he never did. And so you ever wonder why? I wonder why. So I asked him, I saw him about 3 or 4 years ago. He's still in the furniture business, and he's making about $55,000 a year. And I said, Bill, you know, you're such a great guitar player. Do you still even play? And he says, absolutely. Just bought a brand new guitar. And I said, are you still in any bands? He says, absolutely. I play in a band here or there every once in a while just for fun, but mostly I just play for the family and friends around the campfire out in the backyard. And I said, well, Bill, you could have been, I'm sure, a major, major rock star, been in major rock bands, could have been a solo act, all this stuff, but you didn't do it. Why? And he said, simply because I was in several bands and we bands that were definitely going places. And he said, what I realized very quickly, to get to the top in that, I had to be willing to play nightclubs 7 nights a week all around the country. I had to be willing to be, and he said, had to be willing to do that for 4 or 5, maybe as many as 10 years before I got my big break and was on the big stage. And I just really wasn't willing to do that. He said it was not the lifestyle I wanted. I was around an element I didn't like being around, and that's not what made me happy. So when me and my wife decided, you know, what we wanted out of life, we sat down, we mapped it out, and fortunately, with her working and me being in the furniture business, maximizing the opportunity I have, making about $50,000 a year, I've got everything I want. I got the house I want, I've got the wife I want, I got the kids, we go on vacation, I got the vacations we want, I drive the type of cars I want to drive. So he's happy. Does that mean he's not successful because he could have been a big rock star and could have made millions of dollars a year and he didn't? No, absolutely not. He's got the lifestyle he wants. Another guy, let's get one that's more sales focused, another friend of mine, his name is Dan. Now Dan is one of the best fleet salespeople I've ever met in the automotive industry. I mean, this guy moves a lot of vehicles. And Dan, again, is one of the best I've seen. He makes about $175,000 a year. A few years ago, he was offered the opportunity to start moving up the ladder, which consisted of first being a manager, and from manager, once you prove you can do that, you go into you position yourself to be a general manager of an auto dealership. Now, when you go to manager, that's a $50,000 a year increase on average. You go to general manager, that's a $150,000 to $200,000 increase because now you're getting a piece of the entire store. And once you're general manager, if you want, you're now positioning yourself to be an auto dealer. It means you can own dealerships, which means you could make millions of dollars. And believe it or not, Dan turned it down. Now, shortly after he turned it down, I asked him again, why did you do that? And he gave me the exact same answer, and it was a great answer. He said, you know what? To make the kind of money I'm making, I'm having to work right now about 50 to maybe 55 hours a week. And he said, in doing that, I have to sacrifice some time away from my family. There's a few of the Little League baseball games I miss with my kids, and there's a few family events I've had to miss. Nothing important. He wouldn't miss his brother's wedding or something, but there's things I've had to miss to be able to make that money. I knew that if I continued up the ladder, that I'd have to be willing to give up more of my personal time away from my family. I'd miss more ball games. I wouldn't get to see my wife as much because I know I'd be working at least 60, if not 65 hours a week for the next 5 to 10 years. The 5 to 10 years my kids are growing up, when life is happening, and I really wasn't willing to do that. Me and the wife sat down and we talked about it. He said, I'm living in the type of house I want to live in. I'm driving the type of cars I want to drive. We go on the type of vacations we want to go on. I'm happy. So does that mean that Dan's not successful because he didn't go for the brass ring? He didn't go for the $1 million? No, he's successful. He did go for the brass ring. He's got the brass ring because he's making the type of income he wants, that he needs, and that he needs to have the lifestyle he wants. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do, is how to maximize the opportunity. No matter what that income level is, I'm going to show you how to maximize the opportunity. Okay, now there's 6 steps that you got to take to set yourself up to be able to do this. And so I'm going to kind of give you an assignment this week. But before I get into those 6 steps, I have to talk about this week's sponsor. Okay, this is actually going to be a sponsor of ours for quite a while. They've signed on for a long time, and they're called Lightspeed VT out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Lightspeed VT. Lightspeed VT has a training platform that has all the major trainers on it. If you're an individual out there, want to be the best you can be, you want to see Tony Robbins and watch his training and then be tested on it, see what you retained. You want to see John Maxwell, you want to go old school and see Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, Brian Tracy. You want to see Grant Cardone, you want to see Dave Anderson, you want to see my stuff, you can go to lightspeedvt.com or dial 702-369-4260. Again, 702-369-4260, and they can help you get signed up for as little as $10 a month all the way up to $1,000 $1,000 a month, depending on who you're watching and what program of theirs you're buying. If you're a business owner, they also have platforms where you can take and make your own platform, put your own training on it, or you can buy these other people's training. Lightspeed VT is the king when it comes to training, motivation, leadership, management, all kinds of stuff. They have specialties. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. But if you call them at 702-369-4260, make sure you tell them that the Jeff Cowan told you to call, because they've got something very special they're going to give you if you call and you mention my name. So, back to the success. What's the first steps? Well, there's a 6-step process you have to do, and this is good. What your homework's going to be over the next week, because when I come back, I'm going to show you what to do with this. But to make sure that you're getting the lifestyle you want, there's 6 steps. Here's number 1. Number 1, you have to decide what type of lifestyle you want. Now, this is paramount, because what happens so many times is somebody will leave a job, for instance, making $50,000 a year. They start a new job, they're making $100,000 a year, and then they look for ways to spend the money, and that's doing it backwards. You want to know what you're going to spend the money on. You want to know what you're working towards. So the number 1 thing is you have to decide what type of lifestyle you want. What type of house do you want? How big do you want it to be? What community do you want it in? Where do you want it in the country? Do you want it in the city? Where do you want it to be? How big? What type of amenities do you want it to have? You have to decide what type of cars you want to drive. You have to decide what type of vacations. Are you the type of person that's happy on your vacation, sitting at home, catching up on old TV and reading books? Or do you want to go scuba diving in Fiji? These are all things that are important. And obviously, I'm not doing these in order, but kids. Are you going to have kids? And if you have kids, what type of lifestyle do you want for them? Do you want them to play sports? Do you want them to be involved in school? That takes money. What type of education do you want them to have? How do you want them to be fed? All that stuff. So just first, decide what lifestyle you want. Number 2, what type of income will it take to provide that type of lifestyle? Okay, that's important. What type of income will it take to have that lifestyle? These are the things that me and my wife did. We sat down and we decided, because we knew it was going to, what we wanted from life. So number 1, decide what type of lifestyle. Number 2, what type of income will it take to get that type of lifestyle? Then number 3, what type of product or company will you need to work for that will allow you to represent a product that will pay the commission to pay that money so you can have that lifestyle, okay? What type of product? And there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of products out there that pay all kinds of commissions, from as little as $20,000 a year all the way up to the many, many millions and billions of dollars a year. So what type of product? Number 4, and by the way, when you're doing this, dream big. Don't anybody tell you that you're dreaming too big. Go for the biggest things that you want. I mean, whatever it is going to make you happy. Number 4, what type of skill do you need to have to be successful with that product? What type of skill will you need? Because when you represent different products, for example, when I sold furniture, the presentation was really the most important thing. I mean, you had to know how to close sales, had to know how to build rapport, but it was the presentation that really got them. When I'm selling training now, it's all about the results. You have to be able to really communicate the type of results that people are going to get and how easy it is to get. So what type of skill are you going to need? That's number 4. Number 5, are you willing to pay the price to make the income that's going to require to have your lifestyle? Now, this is a big one, because this is where I think this is where it separates a lot of people when it comes to different income levels. For example, when me and my wife sat down and talked about what we wanted, I told her, look, I can make that happen for you, okay, because it's the same thing I want, but you have to be prepared that when I'm in town, I'm going to be working about 55 to 60 hours a week. That's what it's going to take. You have to be prepared that in any given month, I'm going to be gone out on the road for at least 10 days out of every month, and sometimes I will be gone the entire month. So that means I'm going to miss some ball games. It means I'm going to miss a lot of ball games. It means I'm going to miss family events and social events. But if this is the type of lifestyle you want, this is what it's going to take. And so we went for it. Are you willing to pay the price? I mean, some people say, you know what, like Dan did, I missed 1 or 2 ball games a season. I don't want to miss any more than that with my kids. I watch every NFL game. I don't want to miss any of those. So that was what was important to him, things like that, and time with his wife. For me, I'll record it and watch it, but it's all up to you. And then number 6, are you already in a job that will pay that type of income? And here, this is important, because a lot of people, they say, well, man, I work here, I work as hard as I can, I put in the hours, and I just don't make the money, and it's not. Well, here's the first measure of whether or not you're in the right place. Are you making the highest amount of money at the place you're at? Let's say that you've got 10 salespeople. The top one's making $100,000, $150,000 a year, and the bottom person's making $40,000. What do we know about that position? It'll pay $100,000, $150,000 a year. And if you're not making that much, that just simply means that you've not developed a skill and done what it takes and made the commitment to make that kind of money. So you might already be in a place that pays that kind of money. So before you go jumping around, it'll take a look at, because it might be just as simple as looking inward, educating yourself, developing some new skills, working hard and working differently, working smarter, and doing what that person that is making that amount of money, mimicking them first to get what you want. But at the end of the day, let's say that you're the top person and you really believe that you're doing everything you can to make more money. It's just not there. It may require that you go someplace else and represent a different product, and you'll have to do a little bit of homework to find out what kind of products pay that money. So here's what I want you to work on between now and next week so I can help you be the most successful person you can be and get the lifestyle you want. Decide what lifestyle you want. House, cars, vacations, what do you want your kids to do? What type of income will it take to have that lifestyle? What type of product do you need to work with or company you need to work with that will pay that? What type of skills do you need to have if you're going to represent that product so you can maximize the opportunity, because that's what this is really going to be about mostly, is maximizing the opportunity you have right in front of you. Are you willing to pay the price to make what it's going to take to have the lifestyle you have, and are you already in a job that will pay that? So that's this week's message. This is Jeff Cowan. Again, I want to make a big shout out to Lightspeed VT. Thank you for sponsoring me. I want you to come back next Tuesday at noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Either watch this, listen to this. I don't care how you do it. Do both. Hey, why not? Why not live life? Why not listen to it and watch it over and over and over and listen to it over and over and over? That's what I would do, and I hope that you do. I'll see you next Tuesday. Again, this is Jeff Cowan from The Jeff Cowan, and my sole purpose in life is to make you the most successful salesperson you can be so you can have the lifestyle and enjoy the life that you so deserve. And between now and next week, why don't you do me all a big favor? Will you do me all a big favor? Make it a great week, because I'm going to. Thank you very much. See you next week.